Chào ngày mới nắng lên khi sương mong manh chưa tan nhanh. Em tôi đạp xe trên cánh đồng hương lúa vàng, như đã về đây trong sáng nay.
Chào ngày mới nắng lên khi ban mai ngang qua đây. Tôi hé cửa, tôi giang đôi tay như đón chờ tiếng của ngày mới sao rất vui. Là đồng lúa reo vi vu trong gió thơm, là sóng biển nơi khơi xa đang vô bờ, là nhịp đập nơi con tim tôi rộn ràng.
Một tình yêu trên quê hương thơm sắc xanh, lòng hân hoan tôi nên yêu giây phút này, nhưng niềm tin hôm qua vẫn dứt trôi. Là tiếng hát yêu thương xuân thì nở hoa, là sức sống trong tôi như thêm cánh chân, là tìm nhau ánh mắt đã dịu dàng.
Xin chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Văn hóa và những người bạn của Đài Truyền hình Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Vừa rồi là hình ảnh giới thiệu về vị khách mời của chương trình hôm nay. Sinh trưởng tại đất nước Italia cổ kính, nhưng trong cô lại có một mối liên hệ vô cùng đặc biệt đối với Việt Nam. Xin trân trọng giới thiệu cô Thị Bảy Miradoli. Hi Miradoli, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine too. Thank you for joining us today in this program. Like your name is Thị Bảy Miradoli, right?
Yes, correct.
That's an interesting name. That's strange. Like, can you tell me a little bit about the origin of the name?
My first name is Vietnamese because my mother is half Vietnamese.
Oh, sweet.
She was born in Vietnam. Her father was Vietnamese. Ông ngoại was Vietnamese. So she gave me a Vietnamese name.
Okay.
While my last name is Italian because my father is Italian and I was
okay.
born in Italy.
So your grandfather is a Vietnamese. So
Yes.
like you are a quarter Vietnamese, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So like how do you think about like the effect that the quarter of Vietnamese is giving on your like personality and like your way?
Well, it's hard to tell, and also I didn't grow up in Vietnam. I grew up in Italy and then the United States. And my only connection to Vietnam was what my mom told me.
Okay.
But also my name really affected, I think, my curiosity because I was always reminded. Every time somebody asked for my name, I had to explain. So all I had to go by was the stories from my mother or my uncle, my aunt, or my grandmother.
What did they tell you?
My mother left when she was 5 because my grandfather passed away. So it's just little memories, more visual memories, and about just the sounds, the food. Yes.
Did she tell you anything about like your Vietnamese relatives? The relatives that are living in Vietnam at the present?
We didn't have after my mother left. It was difficult for her to keep in touch. I didn't meet my relatives until when I came to Vietnam.
Oh, is this the first time that you came to Vietnam? Like this time?
I came to Vietnam 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
I arrived in August of 2008, and I intended to stay in Vietnam 1 year.
Oh, okay.
But I ended up staying more than 4.
Yeah, okay. So you came to Vietnam 4 years ago?
Yes.
Like you have a lot of experience now already in Vietnam. From the stories that your mother told you and the experience that you have here in Vietnam now that you arrived, like is there any differences?
I have a strange feeling. I'm very comfortable here, and I have a lot of feelings of familiarity here, but I don't know how much of that is because it's something that is in my heritage or something that I heard from my mom, or if it's something, the fact that I grew up in Italy, and Italian and Vietnamese culture are very similar in many ways. So I'm not sure, but I do feel a lot of comfort here. Not sure where it comes from.
Yeah, I think maybe it comes from your name. Like you're comfortable because like the name is a very traditional Vietnamese name. But like Thị Bảy is very traditional here in Vietnam. Nowadays, people don't name their children like those kind of numbers anymore. Like Bảy is number, right? So do you know the meaning of your name?
Yes, it's 7.
Okay.
Although, and I know usually that would be the 7th, actually the 6th child. Especially in the South, it would be the 6th child in the family because the first one is 2. In my case, I wasn't the seventh or the sixth
Okay.
of my parents, but I was the seventh to be born in the house where I was born.
Ah, okay.
And so they sort of blended a Vietnamese name and tradition with a very Italian way of living.
When you came to Vietnam and then you visited your family, your relatives here in Vietnam, what is their reaction? Like, how did they welcome you to their families?
They were very welcoming. They had met. My mother came to Vietnam a few years before me for the first time with my uncle and some cousins, and they met. So there was a little bit of a language barrier at the beginning, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
But do you talk a lot? Like, what kind of stories that you talk to each other and that you tell each other about when you meet?
It's very interesting for me to learn more about my family because I didn't know a lot growing up, and sort of to understand the story of our family and to know more about my grandfather because I never met him. So I always wonder a lot about him.
So maybe like we can spend some time and we can introduce the TV viewers about the conversations that you have with your relatives. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Về Việt Nam, tôi nghĩ từ đúng nhất có lẽ là trở về. Trở về với ngôi nhà của mình và nghe những câu chuyện về tổ tiên từ những người thân trong gia đình. Với tôi là một trải nghiệm mà tôi sẽ mang theo sau này, cho dù có đi đến bất cứ nơi đâu. Trong những câu chuyện ấy, tôi biết được thêm nhiều điều về ông tổ của mình. Đây là những điều mà mẹ tôi, người con gái mang nửa dòng máu Việt, có lẽ cũng chưa từng biết đến.
Mình có chung một tổ tiên là ông Lý Tường Quang. Ông tổ mình á, ông là một cái người rất là nổi tiếng ở cái chỗ là không phải là chỉ riêng cái chuyện giàu có, mà ông nổi tiếng là một cái người là rất có đạo đức. Ông cái thời gian mà ông sống á, ông làm nhiều cái chuyện để đóng góp cho đời lắm.
Nguồn cội, hai chữ đơn giản này đã kéo biết bao con người dù có là ai, ở nơi đâu cũng quay về với quê cha đất tổ. Còn với tôi, nguồn cội sẽ là hương nhân cầm của hôm nay, gợi nhớ tôi về một dòng máu Việt vẫn ngày ngày chảy trong trái tim mình.
Those stories, they're not only like interesting for you, but I think the stories are very interesting for me as well. All those things. So back to your country now.
Yes.
Like, back to your country now. So Italy and Vietnam, you feel a lot of like similarities, right?
I think just the way life is, the importance of family. It's very common between Italy and Vietnam. Sometimes in other more Northern European countries, they're more focused on productivity, maybe career. They have a different relationship with time. Our relationship with time is a little looser, like in Vietnam.
We'll talk more about like your life here in Vietnam. Is that okay?
Yes.
So you play karate, as far as I know, is it true? Martial arts?
Yes.
For a lady like you, and you love martial arts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been practicing karate for a little over a year.
But
Just
why
my
karate?
free time.
Why karate?
Through a friend. He introduced me to this a friend who also practices martial arts, and he's my neighbor. He introduced me to this dojo. I really liked it.
Oh, okay.
So I just found myself doing it.
Okay. What color is your belt now?
It's very low.
Okay. Don't be modest.
It's orange.
Okay.
Yeah.
So besides karate, anything interesting? Any hobby that you want to share with us? What do you do in your free time?
I like to travel when I
Oh.
can. I'm very passionate about photography and writing.
Okay. Right. That seems like a paradox in you. You love karate, martial arts with strength, and you also love writing. Why?
There are two things that help me focus and make me feel peaceful in a way. So
Okay. Interesting. What kind of writings?
mostly creative writing. I used to write a lot of poetry before, so as my hobby, I like creative writing. Also for work, I do a lot of editing and writing.
Oh, okay. Editing? So you're working for a newspaper or?
Not currently. I help sort of friends or some companies with more less creative writing, more professional writing, technical writing.
Any novel coming?
Maybe in the future I will write about my family.
About your family? And about Vietnam too?
Of course.
Okay.
There are maybe 4 or 5 countries involved, and Vietnam is one of them.
Okay. Sometimes I meet a lot of friends. They're saying that the flavors in Vietnam and the flavors that they use in the cuisine in their countries are a little different. Like, do you see that in Italian cuisine and Vietnamese cuisine?
The flavors in Italian and Vietnamese cuisine, of course, they're different, but there are some underlying similarities. One is the use of fresh herbs. We also use a lot of fresh herbs in Italy. Also the balance of flavors. Italian or Vietnamese cuisine, there are several flavors, very balanced.
Okay.
So it's just fragrant.
Okay. Are you a good cook?
So.
So what dish, like Italian dish, that you cook the best?
I cook spaghetti a lot.
Okay.
Spaghetti with clams.
Okay, spaghetti with clams. Sounds great.
Gnocchi or depends.
Okay. What about Vietnamese dish that you cook the best?
I don't cook Vietnamese food very well, especially in Vietnam. I wouldn't dare because everybody around me is such a good cook.
Okay.
I wouldn't dare.
Back to the beginning. We mentioned earlier that Italy and Vietnam, we have several similarities, and especially you mentioned something that I find very interesting. That's the family relationship, because that's what a little different. Because in Italy, you say that the family relationship is very strong. Is it true?
Yes.
Because all the European countries, I heard that when the kids grow up, like maybe they turn 18 and they just get out of house. So
in Italy, and regardless of whether they have to move away for work or school, they still keep a very close relationship with their parents, even after they're married. And a lot of people still take care of their parents when their parents are older. In bigger cities, things are changing, like they're changing in Vietnam. But in general, our family ties are very strong, which is a beautiful thing, in my opinion.
So that's the family relationships. Aside that, any special similarities between Vietnam and Italy? Any others?
Another thing, since you also brought up food and we talked about food, in a lot of other Western countries, food is often just nourishment or commodity. For us, it's very much of a ritual. It's a family ritual, it's a social ritual. We invest a lot of time and work into our meals with our families or friends. It's very much a big part of our life. And it says a lot about us, I think.
So we are talking about family relationship, about family meals, about how it becomes like a ritual in the family as well. Who is going to be the cook? Usually in Italy, is it the woman? Is it the wife? And the husband goes to work. The wife, usually after work, they will spend more time at home taking care of the kids. And
in terms of just cooking, a lot of men can cook in Italy.
Okay.
We actually think it's very sexy when a man can cook well.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. In my family, my brother is a much better cook than me.
Okay.
And although daily my mother does the cooking, when we have family get together, everybody cooks. My father cooks, my brother comes over and cooks.
So if you have to leave Vietnam and you have to come back to Italy, if you can only take like one thing, like anything, tangible or intangible or anything from Vietnam to live with you in Italy, what will you take?
My relationships with the people that I know in Vietnam.
That's a great answer. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope that you will have a great time. Thank you very much for your time here.
Thank you.
Quý vị khán giả thân mến, chương trình Văn hóa và những người bạn đến đây là hết. Bức tranh đơn sắc về đất nước mang hình chiếc ủng ở phần đầu của chương trình hiện giờ đã xuất hiện một màu sắc mới. Thay mặt những người thực hiện chương trình, xin chào quý vị và xin hẹn gặp lại trong những chương trình lần sau.